Real Talk with ReZsaun.
2, 1. Hello world and welcome back to Real Talk with ReZsaun when nothing's off limits. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you are here with me and I appreciate that. I am your host, ReZsaun Lewis. Now, here on Real Talk with ReZsaun, everything's debatable, so on any given week, we could be discussing anything from sports to music to politics. You name it, we'll discuss it. For those who are new to the show, Real Talk with ReZsaun also has a goal of shining a light on the great things that are happening right here in the Lowcountry. We talk about everything going on across the world, or we'll talk about the negative things that are happening right here in our area. But I'm telling you that right here in our area, we have people that have dedicated their lives to changing this world for the better, for changing the Lowcountry for the better, for positively impacting the communities that we care about. And today we have somebody who definitely falls in that category, Mr. Aaron Comstock. Thank you so much for joining me, sir.
It's an honor. Thank you so much.
All right. So for those who do not know who you are, please introduce yourself to the audience.
So my name is Aaron Comstock. I come from Ohio, and I know there's so many of us here, but I actually came here in 1997, to be honest, and on spring break, and I fell in love with the city, and I just said, one day I will come here and move, and it happened. I was on the golf course. I lived in the Philippines for a year. I came back. I was on the golf course in Ohio, and they said, hey, do you want to teach here? Let's do a quick interview. Can you move here in 2 weeks? I packed it up and came down. So I'm honored to be here in my city that I've always dreamed about living in. So I came here, started teaching, and it was an amazing experience. But I never thought that my life would go down the path that it's gone down. Wasn't really involved in any ton of activism or anything like that. But then not long after I came in 2014 to 15 is when the Emmanuel AME church shooting happened. Yeah. And that really woke me up to a lot that's going on in our country, but community in terms of negativity. And I started doing some research, meeting some people, some activists, and I think that inspired me to get involved in lifting up communities up. And I met two, probably the biggest inspirations I had here in Charleston, Thomas Dixon and Moye.
Moye, R.I.P. Mo.
But they've taught me a lot and sort of been my mentors. I had so much more to learn from Moye. Sadly, I can only take what he's taught me through his inspiration activism. Yeah. But I just came, was a teacher, but also wanted to get involved. So I started teaching at Burns Elementary. Okay. And in traveling through those communities, I saw how destitute it was. And I know that my students were negatively affected by institutional racism and neglect. And so I started just on my own, going to the super stop on rivers and just sort of collecting stuff for the people who I saw were sleeping at the bus stop and were homeless. Eventually I started a group called Charleston Care, which was an active response team when I saw that not a lot was happening with groups. We were talking a lot, but not doing a lot. Right. So that lasted for a while. It was mainly a lot of also protests and that sort of thing, saying this is going on and this all show up. But eventually I decided that this guy, it's got to be more. We can do more. So about a year and a half ago, I started Uplift Charleston. And it quickly grew, and we are almost almost 3,000 members now between Instagram and our Facebook page, our group. And it's just I've been inspired now by so many volunteers and people out there wanting to go that extra step. And so all of this culminates in just me trying to say, I can do more. We can make change as a group of people, no matter who you are, no matter what race or belief you are, or social element you are. It's just we all can be together doing the right thing for the communities to say where is it being neglected and where can we pick up the slack.
Wow. So that's a lot. So thank you. First of all, thank you for sharing that, and thank you for the your passion for it. It definitely shines through when you speak about the communities that you're wishing to serve. And we'll talk about that, but I sort of want to slow walk my way to that. In Ohio, coming from Ohio, what part of Ohio are you from?
Central, but southeast.
Okay, so my guest last week was from Toledo.
Yeah. So it's Columbus, a little around Columbus area, but I went to school for 10 years in Athens, Ohio, at Ohio University, which is Appalachia.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. So you're just on the other side of the mountains.
Yep.
All right. Cool.
Beautiful area.
So in Ohio, were there differences in the way the communities were treated that made you feel that difference when you came to the Lowcountry? Because I think a lot of times we look at activism from the standpoint of, in Charleston we see these things happening and they shouldn't be happening in Charleston. But I'm wondering, in these other areas, do we see these same kinds of elements of issues, or is it more prevalent in the Lowcountry?
That's a great question. So I guess I can go back to, I want to talk about Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow grew up in the town that I went to college in Athens, Ohio, and in that area is one of the poorest parts of the country. And so poverty was a huge issue there, of people not having food to eat, that sort of thing. Just poverty really bad there. So I would say that if there was any sort of issue, it was the poverty issue. Where I grew up, no one ever talked about anything. It was just you live, you're happy, you hang out, your kids, whatever. Never thought about any of that sort of stuff. I think in Athens, I sort of got a more of an idea about it. It was a more diverse place. There was no diversity where I grew up.
Yeah.
So more diversity, but also in that sort of atmosphere, you're able to learn about more things that are going around the world. You're out of the bubble. And so that woke me up a little bit. But I would just say that in terms of communities being treated differently, I would say there's neglect in Ohio in terms of poverty and people not caring and doing anything. And I guess if I was activated back then, which I wasn't really thinking about, I was living in my life, I wasn't really focused on that where I am now. Yeah, I would have liked to have done more, but I think that like Joe Burrow, when he made that Heisman speech, it inspired. I think they raised almost over $500,000 for the local food pantry.
Awesome.
And so I think it just takes one person. It takes a movement.
Absolutely.
And, I think that things are happening there. I think the opioid crisis is huge too.
Yep.
Their morgues are full. I mean, it's crazy what's going on. I've had former students that I taught in Ohio pass away from overdose. Several. And that's difficult, but so I think that those two are the biggest thing. There's also, I think, hidden hate. There's a large amount of white supremacist groups in Ohio that you don't hear about. They're sort of hidden away, and when you're living, you don't hear about them so much, but they're there. And I think that's an issue too that isn't really addressed.
I love seeing, and that's the way you just worded that. A lot of people, again, I try with this show to use conversations to build bridges. I think that's important, is that we find the way to identify the issues that are impacting our community on a larger scale, but not just the symptoms. What is the root of the problem? And I think a lot of the things that you just stated, definitely highlight some of the things that we don't consider on a larger scale.
Or this outside of where we're at.
Outside of right. That's
we're
what I'm
here.
saying.
We got a lot of stuff going on here, but what's going on in Ohio, Nevada?
Right. Because I mean, just the simple fact that so many people are moving from Ohio to, like, just Ohio, just the state of Ohio. We have so many people from Ohio that have moved to South Carolina. That tells me there's something going on that's bringing people here. And it's like, people always talk about South Carolina like it's so terrible, but people always move to South Carolina. So that's always something I'm always interested in finding out. So thank you for sharing that. In your work, you taught at Burns Elementary. Are you still at Burns?
No, I've been moved around several times, which at first was kind of hurtful, but at the same time, Priscilla Jeffrey, a board member, said, listen, that's good because you're able to impact more kids on a larger scale. You're not just focused on this certain amount of kids. You're able to inspire or be involved in the lives of hundreds, not just a couple hundred.
So what school are you at now?
I'm at 3. I'm at Mount Zion Elementary for 2 days. I'm at Montessori Community School for 2 days. I'm at Midland Park Primary for 1 day. So that's North Charleston, West Ashley, and John Zion.
Wow.
Communities.
Well, how did they pull that off? Like, how does that work?
Allocations. So, I used to teach at one school because they had so many kids and they just needed one teacher. But when you've got 400 kids, you don't need music every day because you can teach them in 1 or 2 days. So it's just you're split up.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Like I said, it's for me. Like now to meet new kids and to love them and to teach them and to see them smile every day. It's like, yeah, I miss those other schools, but man, now I get to be involved in their lives too.
That's awesome. Cool. But I think that's really cool. I mean, as a former teacher myself, I'm almost running up on 1 year out of the classroom. you definitely value those relationships that you're able to build, and you don't see the full impact of what you do until you see those kids years later.
Yeah, and for me as an elementary, maybe I never ever see them again.
Yeah,
but
you probably will.
But here's the coolest thing about being a music teacher is that not many other teachers get this opportunity. They teach them for 1 year, they're gone, they never see them again, or they see them by passing. I get to be a part, if I'm there for CD through 5th grade, I get to see them.
You have 5 years.
That is the most special thing, to see them grow up. When I taught in Ohio, I taught from elementary all the way to high school, so I saw kids when they were in 3rd or 4th grade to become seniors, and so that's just a powerful thing to see those kids grow and see who they're going to be. So very cool.
Yeah, I definitely feel that sentiment. I mean, I taught 4th and 5th grade, so my students would I'd have them for a year, and then either they would go to 5th grade and I'd have them in 5th grade, or they'd be gone. But you find, like, even especially in the era of social media, like, there's so many parents that reach back out to me of kids that I've taught. There's so many kids that I've taught that their parents find me on social media and they're like, I just want you to know the impact that you have on my child. That's dope. That's cool. Sean Middleton just said, you never forget a teacher. You're absolutely right. So, word to Ms. Myers, we still talk about our 4th grade teacher, Ms. Myers and Ms. Phillips. Me and Sean were actually in Ms. Phillips' class together. We have 4-5C. Shout out to Sean Middleton. So your work expands. So what made you say, I'm a teacher, I'm doing all I can in the classroom, I want to get involved outside of the classroom in the issues that impact these young people? And when you made that decision, was it directly related to what you think you could have done for those young people, or was it completely like outside of that at all together?
I always tell people it's sort of a burden for me. I wouldn't say a curse, but it's I might be in my 40s, but I'm still trying to figure out who I am. And it's almost a burden to have a heart that I always am struggling to say, there's nothing in the world, there's no issue that I just don't care about. And so it's hard. They call it bleeding heart, maybe, I don't know. But it's just like, it's so hard not to want to be involved with those things. When the AME church shooting happened, I had to be involved. I had to get involved to do that. When I saw the communities where my kids were living in, and I saw the poverty and the neglect, I had to get involved. When I see hate and racism being promoted in our communities, I have to be involved to say no to this, no to that, no to that. So it's a burden in a way, but it's also just I guess when I say I'm trying to find out who I am, that's who I am. I care a lot about everything, which can be a burden.
It can.
But it's also rewarding, and I'm not going to apologize for who I am, for caring about these issues, for having these convictions. But going back to your final thing just about the students, so I wanted to be involved in that community because I saw that I lived in the Philippines, in a third world country, and I see places in North Charleston that are, if not worse, if not pretty bad as well. And then I hear about $1 million swimming pools being built in white communities, in the sidewalks going in, and then there's nothing happening on Rivers Avenue in these areas. And so I was just compelled to say I got to do something.
Wow. I love that. Well, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm from North Charleston. I graduated from North Charleston High School. Right. I went to Brentwood Middle. I went to what's now Meeting Street Academy at Brentwood. That used to be Brentwood Middle School. I went there. Goodwin Elementary, I went there. Hersey used to be Park Circle Elementary. That's where me and Sean went to school. Nice. So I'm definitely passionate about that area. My question for you, I have a question for you when it comes to advocacy. Do you think that there's a difference between effective advocacy and ineffective advocacy? And if so, what's that line?
Yes, I think that all advocates are both. Can be both. It's a growing pains that I've been leaders of groups or whatever that just never worked out. But there is positive and negative advocacy, and it's a fine line, and I think it's, like I said, it's a learning process. And I think that we're all, even the best advocates out there are struggling to find the ways to make it the most positive. And I just think that it's, like I said, it's just you learn from what works, what doesn't work, and I just think that if the message is clear and the message is good, that it'll all turn out the way it should be.
Absolutely. So when I say, and I'll rephrase the question because maybe I didn't ask it very clearly. What I'm asking is, in the things that you think work well in advocacy, what are the consistent themes or the consistent activities that are happening that show you how effective that advocacy is? In the ones that are not effective, are there elements that you notice that maybe make it less effective than it could be?
I think that, well, I mean, I look at Pastor Dixon and I see the positive things that he has done. I think that to be a good speaker, to be someone who's willing to put themselves out there, to always be consistently, I think that, okay, that's one thing, is huge, consistency. I think that there are a lot of leaders that aren't consistent. You see them once every so often. So I think that that's huge for advocacy, is that you need to be visible and be out there. And that's one reason why I try to have Uplift Charleston be out there every weekend, because you need to be consistent. And that, I think consistency inspires people, always being out there in the community. I love what Pastor Dixon says, boots on the ground. You're out there. You're out there doing it, and that's one of the reasons I started Charleston Care before, is because we just never saw boots on the ground. You saw every now and then, and we had meetings and meetings and meetings, but what were we doing in the communities? So, but like I said, it's okay. So negative. It's hard when we have over 3,000 people in our groups, but consistently only giving maybe 4 to 5 showing up on the weekends. So you're still trying to figure out, okay, how can we make this better? But that does not mean behind the scenes we got people donating tons of stuff all the time. So you might see 4 or 5, but really there's dozens of people out there on a weekly basis who are driving to pick up stuff, or making community drives to get clothing, that sort of thing. So I think the biggest thing is just inspiring people to get involved and then being consistent about that.
So, okay, great, and thank you for answering that. That's exactly what I was looking for. Those elements and especially when you, I mean, if you guys don't know who Pastor Thomas Dixon is, he's been on the show multiple times. He ran for mayor of North Charleston. Amazing guy, does amazing work, both locally and nationally. Someone who I consider to be a confidant, a friend, and a mentor of mine. So special shout out to Pastor Thomas Dixon. He definitely is a great example of the work being done the right way consistently.
Yes.
And as somebody who does a lot of work in the community myself, there's certain things that I try to be very intentional about. And that's, I'm always trying to pick the brains of the people who also operate in that same sector. So thank you for sharing that. So you've mentioned Uplift Charleston several times, and I want to make sure that people understand what Uplift Charleston is and how it operates.
Sure. So Uplift Charleston is a grander scale of what I was doing when I first came to Charleston when I was at Burns. And so we have stayed in that area there. We go to the Superstop, but we've also expanded to partner with Potluck in the Park, and we go to Conway Park, 66 Columbus Street downtown. And so those are our 2 main places we serve. So what do? So on a grander scale, what I've done and what we have done as a group is that we ask for donations on a weekly basis of clothing, this would be a long list, but hygiene products, socks, shoes, hats, blankets, pillows, sleeping bags, backpacks are huge for those on the streets. Perishable foods or non-perishable foods. I love being a part of food rescue. I do that a lot. People contact me and say, hey, we have this food, what can you do? I'll grab it, I'll take it to Little Charleston and give it to the folks. That's awesome thing that we do. But just anything that someone can use that they don't have to spend their money on, or someone who's on the streets that needs these things to sort of keep them safe and keep them warm, or that sort of thing. So any kind of clothing or bedding or hygiene or even food, or if someone has other donations to say, what about this, or what about a bed? We want to be the group that says, okay, contact us, we'll find a place for it, for those who do those sort of more grander scales. But we just go to these communities, we'll set up our tables, we'll put out our donations in our bins, and people can take whatever we want for free. We give them out the bags they can put all their stuff in, and we love to partner with people so that we're doing we're giving out the clothes and the hygiene products, and then Potluck in the Park is giving out free meals.
You said Potluck in the Park?
Yep.
Okay.
They're on Facebook, Potluck in the Park SC.
Okay.
And then in North Charleston now, we're partnering with Food Not Bombs comes to where we're at up there as well. And so just having those relationships to make our idea and what we're doing stronger. So that's what we do. We just want to bless our communities, uplift our communities by being there consistently,
Right.
showing up, having things that they might need to. But also, one of the biggest things that I care about with the homeless and people that are in need is that a lot of times they feel forgotten through my conversations with them, that they don't feel that people care about them, and they're invisible, they're not seen. So we always tell them that we love them, we see them, we appreciate them, we know we want to help them with what they're going through, be it taking what we have through donations or working through Charleston, the city of Charleston, to say, what do you need? Are you a vet? What services do you need? Here are the places you can go. Here's the numbers you can call to get that help.
I love that. That's good stuff. Question. So, first of all, I want to go to this comment. Lucretia Maria Drayton. Shout out to Felder. Sorry, I want to make sure I get your married last name. I love how he says, communities my kids are living in, we all have a responsibility to ignite change. So, thank you. So, big kudos for that. Thank you so much for watching, Lucretia.
Yeah.
When you talk about and there's a lot of organizations that do things like giving out food and giving out free things, what do you say to the people who say by giving out free things you're not actually teaching them to advocate for themselves or to give for themselves? What is your response to that?
Well, I would go back to my faith as a Christian, and I would say that if Jesus was here or we're here and if someone asked me that and there was someone next to me who was in need and they were saying, don't give this man something, you're teaching him the wrong thing, I think Jesus would say, then no. That's my faith.
Okay.
I would say that I really don't, or people might say, don't give them so many things that they don't need them, or you don't know what they're going to do with them. They might sell them. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean that's always when it comes to that kind of stuff. I definitely am not of the mindset that what they do with it matters. If I see a person who's homeless and I give them $10, I don't care what they do with the $10. I gave it to them. I gave it to them out of the kindness of my heart, and that I did what I thought I was called to do. So whatever they do with it beyond that is definitely not for me to judge or to care about, because I did my part. Now, again, I would just like harken back to that point that I made as far as when giving things away. I am a big believer in education. You're a teacher, so you believe in education as well. I think that with a lot of, and I think this is sort of my critique with a lot of organizations that do this, is how much are we actually training the community to not be dependent on us being there?
Sure, yeah.
Because there may come a day where Aaron Comstock can't be there, and Uplift Charleston isn't able to be there. What's going to happen in these communities to allow them to be able to self-sufficiently do that? Now, of course, this Saturday we're giving them these supplies, and they have these supplies for this Saturday. But along with that, I also would probably bring in a Lucretia Drayton, who does credit repair, to talk to, we're gonna have this table, and I guess the question will be, have you been able to have discussions with organizations like that who could partner with you and provide a service that would teach the community in addition to giving them those things?
Great. So this week, about, I don't know how many months ago, City of Charleston gave this huge document. And on that document is an Excel document, and there's several tabs, and each tab is all about, housing, shelters, food distribution, whatever, benefit services, that sort of thing. So I took this week to say, I'm going to focus on this. I'm going to clean this thing up. I'm going to make it printable. So I made it printable. And I'm right now making those packets printed out by each service, and I want to be able to give something physical to those people. And I want to start having those conversations more with those people to say, okay, what's your situation? What do you need? Okay, you need help with housing, or okay, so here's this document. This is 30 places that you can call that has what are you eligible for? If you're not eligible for it, that sort of thing. So I think that educating them through, okay, and I made this comment the other day. I don't think people. Through veterans, I think veterans, they say, why aren't we helping veterans more? Or are they seeking the help? Well, maybe they don't know about the services.
Right, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
now I can say, are you a veteran? Okay, good. Well, here is a list of veteran services that you can take advantage of that they didn't know before. So that's one thing I think that we can do is educate them to say, these are all these things that are available in our community that you don't know about. These are the soup kitchens, or these are the free meals you can get. Start going out to those places. But I've always tried to reach out. It's hard because I'm just one person.
And you have a job. And that's another
several jobs.
Let me pause real quick right there.
Yeah.
And the questions that I'm asking are not at all to tear down or but I'm always looking to build. As somebody who has a full-time job, and then I call it my 9 to 5 and my 5 to 9. My 5 to 9 is I work in youth development and mentoring programs and nonprofit organizations. So I'm always interested in the people who are doing it, what are they doing to take it to the next level? I look at what I'm trying to do to take my organization to the next level. So I'm always trying to pick those brains. So it's not, again, I want to make sure that it does not come off as me trying to say, hey, you're not doing enough or anything like that. What I'm asking is, how do we make sure that what we do is sustainable beyond us?
Well, it's true because, what we're doing is just the beginning. We've only been doing this for a year and a half as Uplift Charleston. But yes, I would like to eventually branch out. But number one, it takes more leaders to be involved. And I'm trying to inspire that. Like the other day, I know I had a woman, her name was Honey Jones, I think, said, I want to do a mentoring program for single mothers. And so what I did, I just made a post on our Facebook group and had a number of women who were interested too. And then getting them together and say, okay, this is a branch of Uplands Charleston that we can do that is going to help single mothers. Or I'm in talks with Bruce, for his last name, but with how can we help with my sister's house and women who are going through
Kennedy?
Kennedy, yep.
Butch Kennedy?
How can we...
Shout out to Butch Kennedy.
How can we reach out with them, and what can our 3,000 people do to help you or my sister's house? Or veterans facilities. We are now starting to service a veterans facility in North Charleston as well. So it's slow, but for me, in terms of my leadership, I want to just be a person who sort of facilitates. I want to say, okay, I'll put a post out there saying, who would like to start or help out with veterans issues. Get a list of people together, get them together, and then say, go. Who's a leader? Who would like to lead this sort of thing? Go. Who would like to help with domestic violence issues, gun issues? Just sort of get these facets out there of the group. Now, it takes organization, it takes leaders, it takes a while. I have a vision for what I like to do, but I think it's going to happen. But I think that's a really good thing to do, is to start branching out, getting connections with other groups that are doing other things as well. I love to partner with people. I've got so many possibility for partnerships. So it's exciting to see what's going to happen in the future. But be working 80 hours a week and 2 jobs, a day job, a night job, plus this, plus other things. It's difficult, but I'm not trying to get it all done in a month. I'm trying to just sustain it and see where it goes.
That's absolutely, and that's the one thing I always worry about. I'm always worried about myself. Is the work being sustained? Like I love what I do, and I can tell. We've been friends on Facebook for a while now, and I can tell the one thing that shines through anytime you speak about the things the causes that you are looking to impact is that you're passionate about them. And that you want to see it work. It's hard to do that on your own. It's hard to do that, when you have 3,000 people that are attached to an organization, but only 5 people that are active in the organization. So that's something I feel. That's something I understand. So I just wanted to express that I understand that. I definitely would, as you're looking to improve on the model. I always use the term the model. Is use those collaborators, man. Like every issue that's out there isn't your issue to tackle. Find people who are operating in those realms. If somebody reach out to me and says, "Hey, sorry, I can't answer the door right now. if somebody says, "Hey, I want to get into a certain thing," maybe, hey, okay, I know this group that does that. I know this group that does that. Yeah. As opposed to feeling like you have to take it on yourself. Yeah. Because that sort of makes your life harder. That makes your life harder.
And it causes burnout.
Absolutely.
And that sort of thing. But yeah, I'm just so proud of all the people and volunteers in our group that are out there trying to make a difference. And the problem is that, okay, so I used to live in the Philippines. It was such a simple life. It was so amazing. But you come here, and in America, it's a work. It's always working. So people are always so busy, and it's hard to find the time to do these things. But I appreciate and love just all the activists that are out there in Charleston.
Yes, shout out to all of them.
Even if it's a minute or 2 minutes or 5 minutes, just doing what they can, because it is hard with the amount of work that we have to do to get by today in this country, to find that extra time, and that they're doing it and being passionate about it and making it happen and making a real change. That's pretty inspiring.
Absolutely. And Anjane, AJ Davis, shout out to AJ, says Aaron is one of the most authentic and genuine advocates I know.
Wow.
So that's how I praise. If you know AJ, like AJ's been on the show a couple times.
He's amazing.
Amazing individual. One of the smartest people I know. Like most well read. Like he is, to me, the black scholar of Charleston. To me, he just is. And I wouldn't even say black scholar. He's the scholar of Charleston. Awesome. Boom. Yeah, man, I love what you do. Question. And I'm going to start wrapping up, but I want to ask you a few questions just to sort of dive. What is the most misunderstood thing about Aaron Comstock?
That's a tough one. Well, people mistake my passion sometimes. They think that I'm a negative person, and I probably can be, and something I have to work on. But everything that I do and I say comes from a place of conviction and passion for wanting this country and our city and our world to be a better place. I lived in the Philippines, where I saw extreme poverty with multiple kids living in a box, sort of thing. To coming here, so I've experienced a lot of different things in my life, and all those experiences have shaped who I am, what I care about. And so if I'm misunderstood, I guess it's people think that maybe I'm too passionate, or I take that passion in the wrong way. But I can't apologize for who I am and what I'm passionate about. I can always try to learn, listen, learn, and be a better person.
Awesome. What do you love the most about what you do?
So I said this the other day. I made a post about it. I'm still struggling in my life to figure out who I am, where's my place in the world, how to be happy. But the happiest I usually am is either with my kids, when I see in the classroom, just making a kid smile and laugh is like the best thing. And to love music is like the best feeling in the world. But also, there's nowhere else I'd rather be on Sundays when we're doing our blessings and I'm meeting the people, I'm shaking their hands, they know me, I know them by name, we're hugging it out, and they're saying I appreciate you, or they're saying I love seeing you, and we're looking at them and we're seeing them and meeting them where they're at, and just to be there with them. I would sit there for hours and just talk with them and meet with them, and that's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about. If everything goes perfectly for Aaron Comstock in 5 years, what's happening?
I would love to see Uplift Charleston become a real partner in our community, to work with not only local activists but local government to make change. I think that change needs to happen. I think that we have local government officials that do nothing, and that if we can get either voting to happen to remove those people, to replace them with people who are really going to make things and change happen for the neglected communities in our city, like of North Charleston, and that sort of thing. I think that's really big. For me, I just want to find who I am, keep bettering myself, be the best man, the best Christian, the best advocate that I can be, someone who is positive and who will hopefully, inspire children who I teach and the people that I work with, the amazing volunteers that we have, that to say that we can change this community for better. Doesn't matter who you are, that we can work together because we have this common goal to say that, Charleston Strong. That we're not going to say Charleston Strong and then forget about it and then go back to our daily lives. We're going to be Charleston Strong consistently every week, every day. And I would love for that phrase to be ring true.
Absolutely.
Because I thought that after the AME shooting, we all held hands over the bridge, and then a week later, it was back to the same old game.
Status quo.
Right. So if we can prove Charleston Strong is who we are by making positive change through Uplift Charleston or whatever, whoever you are out in the community, I think we could unite as groups, as advocates, to say we can make this place a better place for everybody, especially those who are oppressed, marginalized through systems of government and that sort of thing. So
okay,
that's
one last question: if it were to all end today or tomorrow, and you passed away or whatever, it's a weird question. What would you want people to say your impact was in your time here?
I actually think about that a lot. I don't want to be celebrated. I just want people to say that, because I always think about, I guess I'm concerned too much sometimes about what people think of me, but I do want people to think that I was a person who really had his faith shown, to say that he really, I was reading a passage of Matthew 5:16, I think, is that let the world see your works and that let God be glorified through those works.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I've started Uplift Charleston for, to say, okay, so here's the guy, he lived on earth, he had his issues, he wasn't perfect, but he was passionate, he was convicted about what he thought and he knew as to be injustices in the world that needed to be changed, and that through his works, what he was trying to do, not only did it make a difference, but it also glorified God at the same time.
Wow, I love that. Thank you so much for joining me today, man.
This was an honor, man. Thank you.
This was dope. This was a great discussion. I hope you guys got to feel the heart of the man, even beyond the works, because the works are amazing, but his heart definitely shines through. Is there anything that you want to say to the people as we exit?
Yeah. So, Uplift Charleston is amazing, and I hope that you can go to our Facebook group. Just look up Uplift Charleston. We also are on Instagram at Charleston Uplift, and get involved. Just join our group there. See what we're all about. I like to be transparent, so we always show everybody what we're doing so that you can be involved in that. But check that out. We do our blessings on Sundays at 1:00 at several locations, and we will update that on our groups and Instagram. So I just hope that no matter where you're at out there, that you will find those niches in your community. Where can you be more active? What are your passions? And just get involved. And if you want to be involved with what we're doing, we would love to have your help. And I'm just so proud of all the volunteers that we have. We're a big but small group, but the group of people that do donate all the time at all of our local places like Holy City Brewery, Frothy Beer Brewery, Oak Road Brewery, Water's Edge Dentistry, Family Laundry Matters downtown, all the places that are our partners in accepting donations. And so to get involved with that, and just I'm so proud of all of those people who sacrifice their time and their energy to make our communities a better place. And like I said, we might be a big group that's still growing, but we have such an amazing group of volunteers that are behind the scenes and on the boots on the ground all the time. And I just want to say thank you to my mentors, Pastor Dixon, but also I want to give a shout out to Muhyiddin Tabaha. So he taught me more than he would have ever known, but he inspires me all the time to be a better person and a better advocate. And he has so many videos out there to listen to. I urge you guys to check him out and listen, because he was a superb, educated young man who was making our community and country a better place. Absolutely. Thank you again for joining me. Thank you guys. You are the man. I appreciate it. And thank you guys for watching this week. Reminder that the show is now weekly, once a week. On Wednesday nights, I do my local celebrity spotlight. I am suspending the Real Talk ReZsaun live while I'm going through grad school, because it's taking a lot of my time, and I want to make sure that I'm giving you guys the best product that I possibly can. But next week, local celebrity spotlight is supposed to shine on Miss Dana Bloom, who's a black female forester.
You didn't see that coming, did you? She's actually an author as well. She has a new book that's coming out. We're going to be talking about that. So make sure you tune in on Wednesday night at 7 p.m. If you are doing anything in the community that you would like a light shined on, please reach out to me on my website. That's www.realtalkwithrezsaun.com, so we can discuss getting you on the show. This and all of my shows are now available for your listening pleasure via Apple, Google, Spotify, and any place you can find podcasts. You can also find it on my website, www.realtalkwithrezsaun.com. If you'd like to be made aware of when I go live, because sometimes it is unscheduled, please be sure to click the follow tab or subscribe tab and turn on the notifications so that you will know when something new has been posted to the page. In the meantime, please follow me on social media to stay up to date on what's happening with Real Talk with ReZsaun. All you have to do, pick your favorite social media site, type in Real Talk with ReZsaun, and I will pop up. Feel free to leave comments, questions, or whatever else you'd like to say in the comment section or the message section. I love reading your messages and getting the feedback, even if it's negative. If you watch or you listen and you like it, you say, hey, ReZsaun, I like it, and here's why. If you watch, you listen, and you hate it, say, hey, ReZsaun, I listened, I hated it, and here's why. Why is that important? It's because I do not seek to be told how great I am. I seek to be the greatest that I can possibly be. That only happens through honest feedback. I am also currently accepting speaking engagements and event hosting opportunities. If you would like for me to speak at or host your event, you can request me through my website. You guessed it, www.realtalkwithrezsaun.com. Always remember, God is everything, and without him, we are nothing, so never forget where your help comes from. And if a man fails to stand for something, then he's bound to fall for anything. Now that is real talk. I'll see you next week. Peace.